The sporting world's premier website, JimFeist.net, presents America's longest-running pregame show, direct from Las Vegas, ProLine, featuring Jim Feist, who nailed 66% of his high-end personal service plays last weekend and is winning his first divisional game of the year this Sunday. Dave Koken, who swept his ProLine offer last week, going 2-0 with Auburn and Ohio State, and is coming right back with two more big releases today. Scott Spreitzer, who has gone 20-7, that's 74% winners with his last 9 trifecta releases, and is serving up his 3-play trifecta of the year this weekend. Big Al McMorty, the 34-time handicapping champion who went 2-0 last week with his ProLine offer and has 3 huge games set to fire this weekend. Lawrence the Prez Presman, the host of this year's ProLine season, who has a big game release with a terrific guarantee available this Saturday. And Roz Warby, who releases her upset game of the year this weekend.
Hello and welcome to week 2 of ProLine, America's longest-running football handicapping show. I'm Lawrence Presman, your host, and like always, I'm joined by the greatest handicapping team ever assembled. We've got a jam-packed show for you today. Let's get right to it. I want to start with my mentor, one of the best of all time, Jim Feist. 4-0 in your top pro football plays last week. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, Prez.
Big week coming up now, week 2, the overreaction week of the whole season.
I love that, the overreaction week. When you look at the games out there, you have the Arizona game, they look terrible at home. You got the Jet game, they looked great on the road against Houston, who looked terrible. You got Carolina, who looked terrible at home. Philadelphia looked great on the road. Now, is that the way they're going to play the whole season? A lot of times the average fan thinks that, and they overreact, just like you said. You have to really stay in the box and remember who's on those teams, and they're pros, they're going to bounce back. Same thing happens in college, but not as much. Sometimes in colleges when somebody's bad, they're just bad, and they're just bad the whole season. Another subject I like to talk about, Scott, is coaches on the hot seat. I think we have 9 or 10 or 11 new coaches in the pros. Obviously, they're not going to be on the hot seat in week 1, but go down the road a little bit, 4 or 5 weeks. In the colleges, you got the same situation. We're going to talk about one later in the show with Charlie Weiss, who's been on the hot seat since he had the job. One of these days he's going to find his way out of town.
I don't want to be too critical because my seat's a little warm after last Saturday. It wasn't the greatest day for me, but I'll say this. Dan Hawkins, guys, I've been talking about Dan Hawkins now for a couple of years. Dirk Cutter gets hired by Arizona State several seasons ago out of Boise State, and everybody's anointing him as, a 10-game-a-win coach. Arizona State's going to be in the BCS championship picture. They did absolutely nothing. Same thing happens to Dan Hawkins. Comes over from Boise. Everybody's singing his praises when he gets hired in Boulder, Colorado. But my gosh, is this team clueless right now? To me, that seat is nuclear. I mean, it's not just hot. I feel sorry for his kid. He's got to be like the least popular man on campus right now with the way he's played the first couple of games. But Dave, Dan Hawkins, to me, takes the cake. He is the poster boy for coaches on a hot seat right now.
The good news for Cody Hawkins, though, is he got hit so hard at the end of last week's game. He probably doesn't even know who he is right now. And that was a monster hit. You know who's in trouble? There's a lot of coaches in the college side that are definitely on the hot seat right now. One already on the pro side. This team was not prepared to play last week, and there are high expectations for the Houston Texans this year. A lot of people think they'll win the division. I'm not going to overreact to one game, but I got to tell you something. Gary Kubiak better get that team together, or we have seen in past years they don't wait around anymore in that league. They'll get rid of you, and he could be in trouble very quickly.
I'll tell you, Dave, that's great information. But one thing I want to talk about is how double-digit dogs have been winning the game straight up in college football. Take a look at what we've seen so far this year. Brigham Young upsets Oklahoma. Last week, Central Michigan upsets Michigan State as a double-digit dog. This is a trend that's been happening now for the past 5 or 6 years. We saw it a couple years ago with Appalachian State over Michigan, and it all comes down to the spread offense. This is the great equalizer in college football, so pay attention. Look at what double-digit dogs are doing these days. It has real-world applications.
Thanks, guys. We'll be right back with Michigan State taking on the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, so stay tuned.
My high-end personal service releases hit at a 66% winning clip last weekend, including a perfect 4-0 on Sunday. Make the call right now to 1-888-260-8339 for today's TV game of the week, absolutely free on a recorded message. Then back it up with my college platinum game of the month and my first divisional game of the year in the pros. Both winners are on the house this weekend. I'm going 3-0 this week. Make the call, 1-888-260-8339, or go to jimfeist.net now.
20-7, 74% winners. Hey, that's my run with my last 9 3-play trifectas. Hi, folks. I'm kicking the book sideways with 3 big winners led by my power mismatch game of the year in college football. All 3 winners are locked and loaded for only $25. But first, get my college football situational blowout of the month backed by a perfect 20-0, 100% combined performance angle. Grab it now. Grab it for free on a recorded message. Simply call 1-888-424-4667 or go to jimfeist.net.
Welcome back to ProLine. We are seconds away from talking Michigan State versus Notre Dame, but first we got to turn our attention to Big Al McMorty. Big Al is coming off 2 big winners last week. He's on a 21-6 football run, and today he has a 22-0 system play, as well as his non-conference game of the year. Big Al?
Thanks, Prez. I had a big week last week, 2-0 on the offer. Louisiana Lafayette out of a 20-0 system, and my blowout of the year on South Carolina. Hey, how do I do better than 2-0? I'm going 3-0, and it all starts with a call to my toll-free recorded message line, 877-92-BIG-AL. That's 877-922-4425. I'm going 3-0. I have today a play out of a 22-0 system. Also, I have my non-conference game of the year. I'm going 3-0. It starts with a call right now, 877-922-4425. That's 877-92-BIG-AL. Hey, let's take a look at this Michigan State-Notre Dame game. Michigan State obviously caught looking ahead, as teams often do the week before they play Notre Dame. But teams often, upset loss, always bounce back at Notre Dame, winning 15 out of 16 ATS since 1982. I'm going to take the points with the Michigan State Spartans in this ball game. Dave?
You know, the tough part here is Notre Dame really needs this game. And we talked about the coaches on the hot seat earlier. I got to tell you, Charlie Weiss's team doesn't win this game, you are going to see all kinds of problems in South Bend. It's a game they ought to win on paper. They're better than Michigan State, but Notre Dame just seems to doubt itself in late moments of games. It consistently gets them in trouble, and Michigan State's had extraordinary success on this field. The scary part is that Michigan State didn't just lose to Central Michigan last week. They were clearly the second best team on the field. I think there's some worries there, but I still have to lean Michigan State their way in this game.
You know what? I watched Notre Dame the first 2 games so far. I mean, first of all, they were in a perfect spot to really take it to Nevada. And they had that billboard every time they drove towards the field in South Bend talking about Charlie Weiss. But I'm going to tell you about this game. Notre Dame, from watching the first 2 games, really does lack team speed on defense. They just don't play well together also right now. We've seen this team give up over 5 yards per carry through their first 2 contests, including 5.3 yards per carry to the Nevada Wolfpack. I think Michigan State, with that triple-headed running back situation, is going to take it to the Notre Dame defense, but they can also go deep. Cousins, he's a good quarterback. He's in the top 10 right now in pass efficiency. And Charlie Weiss, you know, Jim, he reminds me of, he's almost got like an NFL arrogance in that he doesn't see the urgency week in, week out. He feels he can lose 5 or 6 games for a season and still win the championship. He's still got that pro football mentality. I got to grab the points here.
Well, I agree with you, but the rumor is now he might actually be scared because they said if he loses this game, he has to dress like Lady Gaga. Now, that would scare anybody. In all sincerity, Michigan State, 6-0 ATS the last six times in this stadium, 10-2-1 the last 13 games. The defense for Notre Dame is just not up to par. They're not that fast. Michigan State has a lot of speed. I think there's going to be a lot of points in the game. I look for Michigan State perhaps to win this game straight up. And don't forget about our free pick phone, 1-888-294-1970. That's 1 game each day and 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. That's 9 free games each and every week, 1-888-294-1970.
Thanks, guys. The panel will be right back with another college matchup as the high-scoring Bearcats of Cincinnati travel to face Oregon State. Don't go away.
Hi, I'm Big Al McMorty. I won big last week on my TV offer, going 2-0 with LA Lafayette and my blowout of the year on South Carolina. And the only thing better than going 2-0 is going 3-0. And that's what I'm going to do this weekend. Call my free recorded message line right now. I have 3 huge winners from my big play club, including my non-conference game of the year and a play out of a 22-0 system. I'm going 3-0. Call 877-92-BIG-AL. That's 877-92-BIG-AL, or go to jimfeist.net.
Hi, I'm Dave Koken, and what else is new? I swept my ProLine special last week with a free blowout on Auburn and a sweet score on Ohio State plus the points. Today, it's Utah, Oregon free on tape at 1-888-567-7660. Plus, I'll tell you how to get my big play on the Georgia-Arkansas SEC hookup for only $20. 2-0 last week, 2-0 again today at 1-888-567-7660 or go to jimfeist.net.
Hi, I'm Raz Warbe, and my ACC Blowout of the Month is available right now, completely free of charge on a recorded message. That's Boston College and Clemson when you make the call to 1-888-769-9467. Plus, when you call, you'll also get a code word GOOD for the next 7 days of personal service releases, including this weekend's big upset of the year, 7 days of winners, and a big game of the year. It's all free at 1-888-769-9467. That's 1-888-RAZ-WINS or go to jimfeist.net.
Welcome back to ProLine. Guys, we're going to talk Cincinnati, Oregon State, but first we got to turn our attention to Smokin' Dave Koken. Last week, Dave was spot on. He called the Buckeyes and the points, and he released free the Auburn blowout. Dave, you have another amazing week in store for us?
I don't think it's amazing. It's business as usual. This is what I'm supposed to do, win on a regular basis. Nobody puts in more time in college football than I do, and one of the conferences I really know well is the Mountain West, right here in our backyard. This week, Utah goes out on the road looking to make it 17 straight wins. Can they do it against Oregon? That's my free play. It's on tape right now, 1-888-567-7660. And then a big service play in the SEC, Georgia and Arkansas, going to be my $20 special this week. Details on that when you call my free pick phone. Again, the number's 1-888-567-7660. Get that Utah-Oregon matchup free and find out about Georgia and Arkansas for just $20. Out of the state of Oregon, Oregon State came to town last week and kind of spoiled the dreams of UNLV. Last-second field goal. They got lucky in that football game. Rebels should have beaten them. We're going to talk Oregon State football now. They're at home against Cincinnati.
Well, UNLV covered, though, last week, and that's the important thing. You got to love Dave's attitude. Mr. Nonchalant, Sir Hat. It's unbelievable. I get so excited over wins. He thinks it's just regular business. Speaking about getting excited over wins, how about Brian Kelly and what he has done with Cincinnati? Dave, the man has completely turned that franchise around.
He's a great football coach. He did a tremendous job at Central Michigan before that. He's winning big at Cincinnati. And this is a team that everybody forecast to drop way down the ladder in the Big East this year. They only had one returning starter on defense. Well, the defense isn't great, but boy, the offense is tremendous. The problem here, as far as the numbers concerned, is that Oregon State opened as the favorite in this game, and now Cincinnati's become a road favorite. There's no value in the Bearcats at the current number. Where there is value is the fact that people may not be recognizing just how good their offense is. And Oregon State's offense pretty good as well with Jaquiz Rogers running the ball. High-scoring game. I like the over, Al.
Yeah, Rogers, he was held out of practice on Tuesday, but he is expected to play. You know, this is a revenge game for the Beavers. They lost 34-3 down in Cincinnati a couple years ago, but they have a big matchup problem. They have a freshman starting at left tackle in Phillip. Curtis Young, big pass rusher for the Bearcats. He's going to present lots of problems for them there. But on the other hand, you look at Rogers, a very good runner, and I think he will be healthy. And then the quarterback, Canfield, he leads the nation in passing efficacy right now. I'm going to take the points with the Beavers. Jim?
Well, I'm not sure what'll end up at the end, but who's going to be favored, but like Dave said, they opened up a dog, now they're the favorite. That could switch later, you never know. But in this spot, they're traveling completely across country, and that's a long trip for college kids. Oregon State is sitting there waiting for them. They do have revenge. This is a very tough game to analyze. I'm going to pass it, Scott.
Well, you know, Jim, I've done quite well with both of these coaches in their careers in the month of September. Brian Kelly, 21-9 ATS, and then you got Mike Riley, who's been horrible ATS at Oregon State in the month of September. I went with UNLV last week over Oregon State, and, you know, these guys are right. I think the value is probably gone on the side. I love the over in this football game. Everybody's talking about the coaches. Everybody's talking about the fact that Canfield has performed well so far in place of Lyle Moyval. Everybody's talking about Tony Pike, another great quarterback so far. Nobody's talking about four syllables, Marty Gilliard. This kid has skates. He's going to get behind this Oregon State defense. The one weakness for these two teams, 3 returning starters on defense for one returning starter on defense for the other. This game sails over the total.
Thanks, guys. Up next, we turn to tomorrow's pro games as the New York Jets host the New England Patriots, so stay where you are.
Hi, I'm Dave Koken, and what else is new? I swept my ProLine special last week with a free blowout on Auburn and a sweet score on Ohio State plus the points. Today, it's Utah, Oregon free on tape at 1-888-567-7660. Plus, I'll tell you how to get my big play on the Georgia-Arkansas SEC hookup for only $20. 2-0 last week, 2-0 again today at 1-888-567-7660 or go to jimfeist.net.
My high-end personal service releases hit at a 66% winning clip last weekend, including a perfect 4-0 on Sunday. Make the call right now to 1-888-260-8339 for today's TV Game of the Week, absolutely free on a recorded message. Then back it up with my College Platinum Game of the Month and my first Divisional Game of the Year in the pros. Both winners are on the house this weekend. I'm going 3-0 this week. Make the call 1-888-260-8339 or go to jimfeist.net now.
Hi, I'm Big Al McMorty. I won big last week on my TV offer, going 2-0 with LA Lafayette and my blowout of the year on South Carolina. And the only thing better than going 2-0 is going 3-0. And that's what I'm going to do this weekend. Call my free recorded message line right now. I have 3 huge winners from my big play club, including my non-conference game of the year and a play out of a 22-0 system. I'm going 3-0. Call 877-92-BIG-AL. That's 877-92-BIG-AL or go to jimfeist.net.
Welcome back to ProLine, guys. New England Patriots heading to New York this week. We got to take that game apart. But first, we turn our attention to Smash Mouth handicapper Scott Spreitzer. Scott, last week, not the best. This week, you're releasing your mismatch game of the year. Tell us about it.
Yeah, Saturday was not a great day at Smash Mouth Sports. Hey, I shout from the rooftops when I'm winning. We got to talk about them when we don't win also. Here's what we got going this week. You all know, 14 years on this panel, I'm a matchup guy first and foremost. Running backs against linebackers, analyzing wide receivers against corners, safeties, cheating up against the run, the whole thing. But when I find an angle, a matchup angle that goes along with those matchups, we're talking winners like shooting fish in the barrel. I've got a 20-0, 100% combined that is, performance angle that fits with my matchups this week. It's available right now. It is my situational blowout of the month in college football. It's on a recorded message at 1-888-424-4667. You'll get the angles, by the way, that fit that play along with the side and info about my trifecta of the year, which goes this weekend for $25, led by my power mismatch game of the year in college football. It all starts with the toll-free call, 1-888-424-4667, or go to jimfeist.net. Hey, Pats and Jets. Brady was rusty at first, came on strong at the end like he always does.
You know, it's funny. We were talking at the top about overreaction, and this game could be a perfect example of that. A Big Al, bottom line, are the Jets as good as they showed last week? Are the Pats as bad? What does your database tell us?
No and no, but that doesn't mean I'm taking New England in this ballgame. In fact, I'm going to take the New York Jets here. New York, it's a buy signal when you go on the road and win as they did last week against Houston and now come home as a home dog. Going back to 1980, unrested home dogs are 113-67 against the spread off a straight-up road win if they're playing a team off a home win. It's all green here. I take the Jets. Jim, what do you think about the overreaction?
That's a great stat. You know, let me tell you a quote that we got from Rex Ryan. He's the coach for the Jets, of course. He said he's not in the league to kiss Belichick's rings. Now, I don't know if Belichick actually reads the paper and he hears that, but that could motivate a team. You know, coming off that was a very tough Monday night game for New England. Now they come on the road against the Jets. I don't think Sanchez is going to have games like that all the time. Do I think he has a future in the league? Absolutely. But he's not going to play that well, like you said, overreaction situations. He's going to go against a much tougher defense. This is a tough game to call. I'm going to side with the Jets a little bit, but it's not a strong play. Dave?
Well, yeah, I'm going to side with the Jets as well. There's a couple of things I really like about this game. First of all, New England can't run the football. This is going to be a problem for them. Brady's great, but if he's got to throw 50 times a game, that's not good. And I don't know who the running back that's going to take the load is for New England. Who? Falk? I mean, he's the best running back right now. Fred Taylor's as old as I am. I mean, it's just, that's a problem for them. They may find somebody, but right now it's an area of concern. Also, I like when a team wins a game under a brand new coach. There's a momentum build off that. I think this team's buying into what Rex Ryan is selling right now. I think the Jets have a really good chance to upset the Patriots in this contest.
When we come back, it's another pro matchup as the New Orleans Saints take on the Philadelphia Eagles, so stay right where you are.
20-7, 74% winners. And that's my run with my last 9 3-play trifectas. Hi, folks. I'm kicking the book sideways with 3 big winners led by my power mismatch game of the year in college football. All 3 winners are locked and loaded for only $25. But first, get my college football situational blowout of the month backed by a perfect 20-0, 100% combined performance angle. Grab it now. Grab it for free on a recorded message. Simply call 1-888-424-4667 or go to jimfeist.net.
What a gigantic Saturday we had last week. I went 2-0 in the Chairman's Club, 1-0 in the Presidential Club. I won my game of the week on Ohio under the total. Today, you can have my Saturday game of the week. It'll cover by more than 10 points, or I'll give you a week of service on the house. I hate giving out free anything. It's total domination or a week of service on the house. Only $10. Just call 1-888-650-7949 or go to jimfeist.net. Welcome back to ProLine, guys. This segment, we're going to take a look at the New Orleans Saints versus the Philadelphia Eagles. But first, let's turn our attention to world champion handicapper, Mr. Jim Feist. Jim, Southern Mississippi didn't get there for you last week, but you did hit 66% on all your high-end football plays and 4-0 on Sunday. Congratulations.
Thank you, Prez. My high-end personal service releases hit 66% winning clip last weekend, including a perfect 4-0 on Sunday. Make the call right now, 1-888-260-8339 for today's TV Game of the Week, absolutely free on a recorded message. Then back it up with my College Platinum Game of the Month and my first Divisional Game of the Year in the pros. Both winners are on the house this weekend. I'm going 3-0 this week. Make the call, 1-888-260-8339. That's 1-888-260-8339. Call now.
Thanks, Jim. New Orleans is going into Philadelphia this weekend, and there are so many questions surrounding this game. Guys, give us some answers.
You know, I tell you what, Perez, when I'm watching the highlights after the games are played, and you're going to see this on SportsCenter all the time, they're going to talk about 500 yards of offense for the Saints, and they're going to say Drew Brees was out of his mind with 6 touchdowns. What you won't hear too much on shows like that is that this Philadelphia patchwork offensive line that really took a lot of hits in the preseason actually delivered a lot of hits against Carolina. I think both of these teams are going to put up points, Al. Besides the fact that New Orleans can move the ball, they've given up over 26 points per game in the last 9 on the road. Lots of points in this one. Looks like fireworks to me.
Yeah, I think there could be a lot of fireworks in this ballgame. But on the other hand, I took a look at how teams do after they scored 40 or more points in week number 1. And then the next week in week 2, they've only covered 14 out of 42 times, including 4 of 20 if they weren't a winning team the previous season. I don't want to anoint New Orleans, this great offensive team, just yet. I want to see them do it against somebody other than the Detroit Lions. Yeah. Guys?
I'll tell you what, they're going to do it against everybody. This team has a tremendous offense. Drew Brees is absolutely fantastic. He may be the best pure passer in the league right now. The guy's underrated. The questions are going to be about Greg Williams' ability to fix this New Orleans defense, which is broken, and I think that's going to be a work in progress for them. But I got to tell you something. I don't think it's an overreaction here to believe that this Saints team is dangerous, and I don't know what Kevin Cobb's going to do as starting quarterback for the Eagles. It's a big opportunity for him, but I have to look at the Saints right now.
Well, they did sign Jeff Garcia. Now, Jeff played there a couple of years ago and was 5-1 under Reed. That was when McNabb, I think, broke his ankle or something like that. Took him into the playoffs. He was very successful there. This is an old pro. If he gets in the game, I actually favor Philadelphia.
Really?
I mean, they are the better defensive ball club. The Saints have had problems over the years stopping anybody. Last week they couldn't stop the Lions. And when you look at last week's games, they were gift-wrapped by the Lions. I mean, everybody beats the Lions. And then Philadelphia, okay, they slaughtered Carolina in Carolina, but that was Jake Delhomme. He was sitting home at night wrapping presents for them because, I mean, if you go back to last year in the playoffs, he did the same thing against Arizona. So I'm really not sure how good these teams are, but I do know Philadelphia has the better defense, and they are a very small favorite at home.
After a quick break, we'll be back with the plays of the week from the entire ProLine panel. Don't go away.
What a gigantic Saturday we had last week. I went 2-0 in the Chairman's Club, 1-0 in the Presidential Club. I won my game of the week on Ohio under the total. Today, you can have my Saturday game of the week. It'll cover by more than 10 points, or I'll give you a week of service on the house. I hate giving out free anything. It's total domination or a week of service on the house. Only $10. Just call 1-888-650-7949 or go to jimfeist.net.
Hi, I'm Raz Warbe, and my ACC Blowout of the Month is available right now, completely free of charge on a recorded message. That's Boston College and Clemson when you make the call to 1-888-769-9467. Plus, when you call, you'll also get a code word GOOD for the next 7 days of personal service releases, including this weekend's Big Upset of the Year, 7 days of winners, and a big game of the year. It's all free at 1-888-769-9467. That's 1-888-RAZ-WINS, or go to jimfeist.net.
My high-end personal service releases hit at a 66% winning clip last weekend, including a perfect 4-0 on Sunday. Make the call right now to 1-888-260-8339 for today's TV Game of the Week, absolutely free on a recorded message. Then back it up with my College Platinum Game of the Month and my first Divisional Game of the Year in the pros. Both winners are on the house this weekend. I'm going 3-0 this week. Make the call 1-888-260-8339 or go to jimfeist.net now.
Welcome back to week 2. ProLine, it's time for our plays of the day. Mr. Smashmouth, what do you got for us?
Thanks, Prez. You know, my top play on the panel this week is also a big play for me at my service, and that is Michigan State, plus all those points over Notre Dame. You don't want to miss out on the Smashmouth weekend that I've got going right now. 1-888-424-4667 is the toll-free number. On a recorded message right now, free is my 20-0, 100% blowout of the month in college football. And you're also going to hear information on my 3-play football trifecta of the year, led by my power mismatch game of the year in college football. All available right now, 1-888-424-4667, or go to jimfeist.net.
Thanks, Smashmouth. Let's turn to Dave Koken. Smoking Dave Koken, what's your play of the week?
Thanks, Prez. There's going to be a crazy amount of scoring in this game in Corvallis between Cincinnati and Oregon State. Offenses rule. Top play of the week here on ProLine, the over in that college football game. Last week, Auburn and Ohio State, a perfect 2-0 with my ProLine offer. We're going to do it again this week. Love these two games. Utah and Oregon, strong right now. Free play on tape, 1-888-567-7660. And then a huge SEC matchup, one of my top service plays, just $20. Get details on that when you call 1-888-567-7660 or visit jimfeist.net.
Dave, I'd wish you luck, but you just shrug it off anyway. Old hat for you. Big L, what's your play of the week, sir?
Hey, thanks, Prez. Hey, last week 2-0 in the offer, including an easy 20-0 ATS system winner in Louisiana Lafayette. This week I'm going to go against the Raging Cajuns. My best play on the panel here, LSU. I am on absolute fire. My club's 21-6, 78%, the last 27. Let's keep it going. I'm going 3-0, and it all starts with a call to my toll-free recorded message line, 877-92-BIG-AL. I'm going 3-0, including my non-conference game of the year and a play out of a 22-0 ATS angle, 877-92-BIG-AL. That's 877-922-4425.
Thanks so much, Big L. Guys, we saved the best for last. Mr. Jim Feist, what are your plays of the week?
I'm going with the value play with Michigan State. They own this team. They own this team in this ballpark coming off a loss. They have a lot of speed on offense. I think they're going to beat this team straight up. Make the call right now to 1-888-260-8339 for today's TV Game of the Week, absolutely free on a recorded message. Then back it up with my College Platinum Game of the Month and my first Divisional Game of the Year in the pros. Both winners are on the house and free. I'm going 3-0 this weekend. Make the call, 1-888-260-8339.
Thanks, Jim, and thank you, everybody. The show is over. Week 2 in the book. We'll see you next week for another great show, 7:30 a.m. on USA.